Hello friends, this is a bit different from usual. Battlefield 2042 just released in early access. And get it by, not really sure you can pre-order anymore, but I'm sure there's some edition where you can actually gain access to this. And in the beta, I made a short setting Battlefield 2042 up. And I actually want to do that again because I get a lot of questions. I'm a fairly hardcore Battlefield player, and I get a lot of questions about how I'm set everything up. And the truth of it is that it varies. There are a lot of things that always changes. Of course, as you get to know the game a lot more, you kind of just find comfort in different settings. So there are no catch-all configurations. Of course, you can always squeeze out the best FPS and everything. And of course, the mouse sensitivity or control sensitivity or whatever you use should be airtight. But it is something that absolutely changes constantly. I wouldn't. No, I'll go into that later on. There are some things regarding mouse sensitivities that I wanted to address. But I just started Battlefield. I set up OBS, press start recording, right the stop recording button instead of and this is essentially what we're going to see. It's standard stuff.
Menu narration enable. Menu narration disable.
Yeah, no need to do that. Also, unique for a Battlefield game, you do have crossplay now. Which means you can play with your friends as well as other players on in Battlefield on the servers. A lot of players might want to disable this because there are pros and cons regarding both auto aim on controllers and consoles, as well as the precision gain from mouse sensitivities. So the Battlefield will not feel equal. So some might want to disable it. You want to enable it if you don't really care about that and you just like that there are a lot of people around. For now, I think I'm going to enable it. I can always disable it. I like that they actually have set it up that you're presented with this right away, and it's fairly comprehensive. So if you're colorblind, change these. Oh, you can even do custom, that's amazing. I'm fairly used to the standard Battlefield stuff, but I'm sure you can actually find some more in tune with last Battlefield titles if you're more inclined to use those. I remember in Bad Company 2 I might use this one, or was that Battlefield 3? I can't remember. There's been so many. Subtitles on, I like subtitles. Oh god, they didn't fix this. Okay, they kind of fixed it. In the beta you couldn't really see what was on and off. This should be on, now it should be off. It's due to the hovers function. Plain coming text to speech if you really want that. I like subtitles on just because I don't want to miss stuff, and in a multiplayer game that actually has subtitles on, it can actually give you some kind of an edge over other things if there's too much noise going on. Motion blur always at a 0 for me at least. Can look good if you like the aesthetics of it, but it's mostly a tool created back when there wasn't really a lot of processing power in consoles. Reload hints, yeah, why not? Toggle, Soldier Sprint, I like that. Essentially it's hold shift in. I'm going to mostly do keyboard because I have no idea how a controller is mapped. Soldier Sprint, toggle, I like that. So you just have to flick shift to start sprinting. Soldier Weapon zoom. Okay, this is poorly written. Soldier Weapon zoom, it is whether or not to hold the button or to toggle it. And there's an on and off. So I'm not sure which one is toggle. I like the toggle one because then I don't have to constantly lean on the right mouse button, which can sometimes cause issues with your muscle memory, because you're kind of tightening the one finger, and that can kind of lead to some kind of a numbness, or at least some sort of discomfort. I hope that's toggle. Hints for controls, maybe from the start, but I'm going to disable for now. Cameras, check them out. I have a friend who really likes this ability to actually turn it off, or at least turn it way down, because he gets motion sickness. I don't mind it terribly, so I'm going to leave it up. Might change it later. Brightness is what it is. Turn it up maybe for a bit of an edge on the battlefield, but at washed out colors and everything, it doesn't really feel necessary, especially if you actually want a level playing field, which I really do. Sound configuration. It wants to do auto based on my Windows setup. I might as well keep it at auto. Audio mix, what do we have? I have headphones, so might as well put it to that. You can see you have 3D headphones as well, which tries to simulate a 3D environment. I want to see if that actually works. But you should, in theory, always get the same function in headphones. But why they have split it out, I'm not sure. We also have the wartapes one, which is the extra oomph you get on bass sounds and everything. Got some specific ones for special products as well. Don't need that. 3D headphones is where it's at for me. Soldier mouse aim sensitivity. They want to give you the get-go right away. I will recommend, if you have a game where you already have your favorite or perfect sensitivity you've gained or countless hours of Counter-Strike or Valorant or whatever you've been playing, go to mouse-sensitivity.com and try and calculate your sensitivity based on the earlier game you've been using, as well as the configurations you've set up, and then set Battlefield 2042 as the new game, and it should give you a decent value. It's actually doing some crazy calculations based on the creator is using an actual machine to measure, as well as a camera as well, to measure how much 360 is on a mouse and such, depending on the values. So it's gone. They go for it very programmatically. I haven't calculated mine yet, so I'm going to leave it at 20. Calibration completed. You can change these settings and more at any time from the options menu. Let's see. I hope it will not throw me into a game. That will mess me up. An intro, maybe. I'll shut up for this.
Flint. Language. Machines. In the face of crises, humanity adapted. We became warriors, explorers, builders, dreamers flying forward, in control of a changing world.
45 in Paris, the highest temperature ever recorded. Hurricane Zeta, the world's worst Category 6 storm, is just now on thousands of residents are preparing for yet another night without power.
Flooding earlier in the week in parts of India. All concerns will turn to the Baltic. Firestorms began in central Latvia, but quickly spread to 8 Baltic nations that had
The price of fresh water rose again today in the London Stock Exchange, hitting an all-time high.
I'm old enough to remember what that world used to be like. We had places we belonged, country, community, family.
Have ravaged 50% of global shipping ports, threatening food supply chains.
The Estonian population continues to riot in the streets.
Militaries to fortify their borders using.
At what point does a country stop being a country?
One failed state became a dozen, and now there's millions of refugees headed every direction, except home.
Estimate that 1.2 billion people have been displaced by this shocking chain reaction.
We call ourselves nomads, the non-patriotic, stateless warriors fighting for our survival.
The world's non-patrioted finds themselves choosing sides between Russia and the United States in their
Caught
quest
between
for
the last two superpowers as they circle each other, fighting for resources, threatening to draw us into a new kind of war.
This is the emergency broadcast system. A blackout event has occurred.
that has disrupted electronic communication across the planet. We don't know what is happening. Are we broadcasting? Are we on air?
Blackout communications and navigation systems, leading to massive disruption.
The cause is unknown. Russia and the United States have been pointing
keep an American satellite from falling into Russian hands. And the intel on board is all the excuse either side needs to send us straight to hell. But we faced crises before. The notepads were born out of it. We are the warriors. We are the adaptation. And this fight is ours.
Welcome to 2042. Our journey begins here in Notepad. Battlefield can be hectic. There's a chance to familiarize yourself with how to play the all-out war experience of conquest before matching against humans. Continue to the main menu as soon as the game is fully installed. Experiment, try different specialist weaponry and vehicles. And while you play the objective, don't forget to have fun.
It's enough. I only have time to explain this once. Inside the combat zone, there are two opposing armies.
There are no subtitles on, even though I enable it.
The fight continues until one side runs out of reinforcements and is forced to withdraw. That's it. Now, how do you gain sectors? You gain a sector by securing the objectives inside. To secure an objective, clear it of all hostiles. Once one side holds all the objectives inside a sector, it's theirs. Holding more sectors than the enemy causes them to bleed reinforcements. You bleed the other team to zero, and it's over. You take the field. Sure, you can light up hostiles and whittle down enemy reinforcements, but matches are won or lost by capturing sectors. Eyes on the prize, people. Move out!
I'm not sure what's going to happen now. This might be a butt play at 30 FPS apparently. I'm going to play through this just for the fulliness of it. Let's see, I like healing.
This is Commander Connell. Who am I talking to?
I've only got engineer.
Part of a Notepad task force on the ground. We're engaging the Russian ground forces. Unless you Notepads want to get caught in the crossfire, I suggest you join us. We got a choice? When? Sending coordinates. See you on the field. So much for stopping a war.
We must take that objective!
Monitoring your advance, Notepads. Take that objective and show the enemy no quarter. Okay, squads. Strategy.
Interesting.
Capture your objectives, take control of the sectors, and repel the enemy.
It seems we face professionals.
What did you Alright. I have not set this game up at all. I'm going to keep it at the default values. Just... I think it might be bugged. Just, yeah.
Hostiles present. Notepads, you are free to move on that objective.
Move to that location.
Locate and capture objectives. This battle's not over yet.
Out there! Let's move!
Okay, you can see the toggle didn't work.
Now under our control.
It was switched, and yeah, it's a bug.
Clear that
Can I?
objective.
Keep you informed.
Oh, we got actual
Strike that objective.
Comoros now. It was not in the beta at all. Now there seems to be some scripted events like the helicopter thing just earlier. Looked cool.
Begin your attack on that objective.
Good luck, squad leader.
Oh. They're really driving around. Oh, yeah, my sensitivity is super bad. Oh, the enemy. It's all over the place. Plus my FPS is low. Could be new game that it's not properly optimized yet, but I doubt it. I just need to get into the graphic settings. I'll do that after this. I'm already low on ammo. Oh god. I'm currently getting around 60 FPS. It's fine for some. I I'm just one of those people who really dig having high FPS. I want my multiplayer games to be as responsive as possible. That is an enemy tank, isn't it? Where did I use this on myself? Oh, there was. Hole 3. Are we getting sandstorm now? Oh yeah, we are. Or maybe not. We haven't really had bots in a Battlefield game since at least I think the very first one, actually. Battlefield 1942. Now this is unprecedented. Completely new. There might have been some for consoles, but I'm not sure. Because it was the console exclusive 1943 and Bad Company 1. As well as Special Forces, if I recall rightly. Bots don't seem too good at giving me ammo, at least. Can I pick that up? E to pick up. Oh, one there. That kicks like a mule. That's a friendly.
Getting attack on Alpha 1.
Oh, I can mount this, I think. Oh no, they have Sector B. At least attacking Sector B. Okay, that is not so. Oh. We have all of the sectors. I'm getting pissed.
We've taken full control. Repel all counterattacks.
Okay, you can control the recoil somewhat. Default FOV is really low, the field of view. Okay, do we have anything we can do? Just wait for them to come back. Alright, that's prone at least. Got a tank there. Ignore my signal. What do we have? Need healing. Oh, kinda need ammo. Oh yeah, I got grenades. That's a thing. Need them.
The resources are at 50%.
Whoa, that's the tank. I doubt someone's going to come and revive me. Do not come to me. Nobody's on A. Seems to be losing this as well.
They're attacking one of our objectives. I've got one.
Oh shit, tank. I think that's why it wanted me to do engineer since nobody else is.
Sector Bravo has fallen to hostiles.
Can I lean? That thing? Hello, tank. There we go. He's actually doing something.
I'm here to help.
Hit him behind. Oh, the tank keeps killing me. Come on, let's get this over with so we can continue.
Stay back!
Well, sniper's out with the same weapon. Let's do this then.
Hostiles engaging Charlie 1.
Oh, it didn't change it. Of course, because I'm manual.
Deploying grenade!
Okay, the grenades changed a bit since earlier battlefields. They seem to have both tanks too. Oh god, don't run me over. Oh, it's friendly. I might as well revive this guy.
Staging attack on Bravo 1.
Yeah. Ow. Okay.
Tango's down!
Want to capture this point? Let's go with my wee friends over here.
Reloading!
There we go. Oh, got a chopper.
I'm reloading!
Wonder how good the AI is. Is it believable? Exploded from something I didn't see.
Cancel
So
that! We take that objective!
yeah, Tang, I see you.
Sector Bravo is ours.
Disregard!
All sectors secure. Let's keep it that way.
They don't want to take back A at least.
Bravo 1 is under attack.
They're disorganized! Take advantage!
Where's the people capturing? Oh, it's a fairly decently sized cap zone. I think they got vehicles on our side now. No other people in here. Oh, got a friend over there.
Ignore my
Oh.
signal!
You got revived.
Here! Map supplies!
Their forces are dwindling.
Go on.
Friendly down! Steady, I have company.
Oh, friendly tank. Who isn't so friendly?
Exhausting. Bad weapon. You know Patch did a great job out there. Let's get you home as promised.
Guitar? That was the immediate tutorial of Battlefield. Not the best, not the worst, but alright. I think, at least for Battlefield games, most people know what they're for and how they work and everything. And I don't have a mouse at the moment. But such tutorials need to be a bit more guided. Alright, so we got all-out warfare, which is most likely the default Battlefield 2042 experience. Got Hazard Zone, not Hard Zone, which is a battle royale-esque enemy. What's it called? EFT. Escape from Tarkov. Battlefield Portal. Your customized rules, as you can see down here, you already have one set up. Now this one is basically Battlefield 42 people against Bad Company 2 armies, and you're using you have VIPs you have to protect. Alright, let's actually find some sort of options. There are none available out here at the moment. Got social, standard stuff. So let's see if we can get into this and actually find an option. There it is. This is... Alright, you're reporting for duty. Let's go back through it. So, inverted, that was also part of the accessibility start thing, where you can actually turn it on or off depending on vehicles. So plenty of customization options there. In controls, we didn't do that. Share user data. They do some telemetry information, pick it up from you. I always have it off because usually you have something that blocks the telemetry servers. Show player created content might be a good idea unless it's really, really heavily curated. Earlier Battlefield games have not been very curated, even though they always promise it. Allow followers. Not sure what that is. Probably it's a new feature at least, but it says what it is right there. People can follow you and see what service you're on. Good idea if you don't want to add them as friends. Display. I have the field of view, default field of view is 55. This is most likely vertical, if I remember right. I'm not entirely sure. 55 is good enough if you're sitting far away from the screen, but it's simply not good enough for anything PC gaming. I would not recommend doing this, using that at all. I would recommend heavily that you get used to the max FPS. It will be kind of a fisheye view for a tiny bit, and then you get used to it, and you can see so much more, and it just flows a lot better. As you could see during the tutorial, it just felt very chunky and clunky and heavy and everything. And it's a good feeling in a single player game, but in a multiplayer game where you have to constantly feel like you're in control, you'd want this up there. Some people I know, some pro gamers who are used to Counter-Strike and such, they swear on 95 or 90. 90 is more akin to the Counter-Strike. While 95 is maybe it's 95 that's Counter-Strike and 90 is Call of Duty on highest on PC. Turn this all the way up to 2. No point not doing it. Now this one is special. This is, yes, well, it says right there, when on, magnification of weapon sights will be relative to the user-defined FOV, which essentially means that, okay, my field of view is 105 degrees. So if I aim down sight, it doesn't go to the default values field of view aim down sight function, which would be a lot more zoomed in. This can both be a good thing and a bad thing. You can put it on if you you can turn it off if you want to have an extra zoom function on your normal iron sight or red dot sight or 1.0 times magnification scopes. They'll give you a bit of an edge. It'd be easy to see people like that. Sometimes if you don't really feel like you're constantly getting that zoom in and zoom out motion, you would want this turned on. And it also kind of depends on your weapon. For example, if you were using shotguns without slugs, like just pellets, it would be just good to have the advantage of of having your regular field of view, but with the tightness aimed down sight gives you on pellets especially, so it doesn't give it that hip fire modification where it just blasts in a wider cone, but actually is more tightly put together. So again, this differs a whole lot depending on what how you play and everything. I will put it to off for now, just to see how it's going to feel. Brightness, we already had that. High dynamic range, that is if you have a monitor which have a HDR integration into it. You have to enable it in Windows first to enable it in this game. That is a certainty. I'm not sure how good it's going to look. I have a friend who's really against HDR on PC so far because, or at least on PC monitors, because they don't really have the full integration that TVs have at the moment. Chromatic aberration, it's that slight distortion of colors, like camera lens kind of thing. Some like it, some do not. If you like a clean image without any additional filters and such, turn it off. I'm going to leave it on for now to see how it goes. Film grain, you kind of get that grainy stuff. It's still a filter, grain stuff on you. Again, if you like a clean image, turn it off. I'd leave it on. Vignette, say I can't exactly remember the definition of vignette, but turn on off depending on clear image. Lens distortion. Oh yeah, I mixed up my lens distortion and chromatic aberration. Chromatic aberration kind of does the, if you have a shader where you have a like around a soldier, there's somewhat a shade so it kind of stand out, but there also a tiny bit of a color distortion around it. It can be really offsetting if not done right. Lens distortion is the camera thing I was talking about. Graphics quality. Now there are a lot of selections here and they seem to be mostly the same as all other Battlefield games. I can hardly recommend that you set this to... Oh, it doesn't do that. Why doesn't it do that? I will. This might come in the future, but it isn't available at the moment. But there is, in all of the earlier Battlefields, there was an auto low latency. That means kick as many FPS out as possible until I hit the refresh rate, and when I do, turn on some details. That really worked really well in other games, and I had it on consistently just to make sure that that I actually squeeze out all the FPS I can get. It also means I lost the train of thought. It also means that if you have a beefier computer, it will automatically turn on quality, so it'll look prettier. And the great thing about the Frostbite engine is that it doesn't always have to restart for certain graphic changes, so texture quality, shadow quality, and all that kind of stuff can be added on the fly. Certain things like the different kind of anti-aliasing might need a reboot. I'm going to leave this as auto and tweak it later. Later on there might be a lot of guides just that researches how FPS intensive all of these are. Look at them, then tweak your settings accordingly. Again, I want the most FPS, so in my regard that would be 244 FPS, as I have a 244 Hertz monitor. I can live with anything above 100, of course, and then you can just kind of squeeze in and out. But what you do not want to have is the feeling that you are getting input latency, i.e. that you turn your mouse and it takes a small time, nothing that's measurable, but you can absolutely feel that it's sluggish somehow, or you press down a key or on control on your keyboard and it doesn't register right away. That's input latency. You do not want to have that at all. Now, a new feature in Battlefield, it's down here, Battlefield 2042, is that they have actually the Nvidia Reflex low latency, which where the graphics card actually itself tries to give as much processing power for the inputs. It might not be available on AMD. I'm not sure. I'm fairly certain it's not, but at least we have this on Nvidia. Dynamic resolution scale says what it does on the tin. Dynamic resolution scale will deliver a more consistent frame rate at the cost of resolution. This is probably the way they're going now, that they're actually tweaking down the resolution rather than the graphic settings. This can be both good and bad. I don't specifically like it. On slower computers, it's amazing, and it really actually adds to the possibility of making the game accessible on more wider hardware, and for that it's probably amazing. But I'm going to keep this off unless I really have to turn it on, i.e. if the game is not optimized well. I have a fairly beefy computer, so I'm coming from a high-end perspective, so that will completely differ on what kind of perspective you have on it. DLSS, another Nvidia thing. If you can put this on, it can both increase the graphic quality as well as the performance of it. This one has an auto function. I think it will try to output as much FPS as possible first, and then if there are more to give after that, it will change it to graphics focused, quality focused. Ray tracing does what it says on the tin, on-off functions. I'm going to leave it off because this is one of the most intensive FPS things you can have in a game. Nvidia Reflex low latency, it was enabled by default, which is good. It has a boost function. I'm not entirely sure what it does, and in my mind, it shouldn't be left up to the player to have this function. It should just do whatever it can to actually have the lowest latency as possible, but it is what it is. I'll leave it enabled and see if it is enough. Future frame rendering. It will increase, it will buffer future frames. Essentially, it will see, okay, the graphics card have figured out, okay, I have rendered this, but I have some extra processing power. I can render the next one, but at an it's the right word, expense of the latency, input latency. So you might not want to have that on and off. I will turn it off for now. Might turn it on depending on my FPS again. Velc sync, leave it on for now. If you have a 60 Hz monitor, I would recommend turning it off because you want to aim at higher FPS, even if it gives some kind of screen tearing. If you're not overly, if you don't really care about FPS and such and just want to look pretty, leave it on. It's fine. I'll leave it on for now because I have a high Hertz monitor, so it'll most likely never hit 244, but if it does, I'm very happy and I don't need any more than that. I cannot change this one. I'm not sure why. High fidelity objects amount. This is most likely because I have set this to auto. So if I set this to custom, I can change this one down here. Why it's down here, I have no idea. Then we have the hot general. We also, sorry, I had throat there. I had muted, but I hadn't. Solar compass, basic stuff, colorblind, kill lock. I want this on. A good thing about kill locks is that you can see if you know what the enemy is called, because you just kill your mate and everything, and you can see it in kill log. Then you can see, you can keep an eye up there, and see, oh, he died now. That means I'm no longer in danger from that guy. And you want to set it to all, which can maybe become too much. If it is too much, set it to nearby, I dare say. That means everybody nearby would show up. It won't really show up snipers, I assume, but that's that. Crosshair, you get a nice picture here. It actually changes. this is all up to you, but Crosshair is one of your most important tools in an FPS game. You need to know where you're aiming, and it needs to be clear, and it needs to be concise, and it needs to be good. You can change it depending on what you like. For example, from Counter-Strike, where you can actually configure your crosshair something crazy. Let's see, crosshair projection. Oh, okay. Apparently, some sort of functions in the game will do so the crosshair isn't always aligned in the middle. I would absolutely say that it should keep staying in the middle because you want to know where you're aiming. Now, I'm saying this based on not knowing what will take away the crosshair from the middle of the screen. It could be that your weapon is moving around, so where the gun barrel is changes, and the gun barrel is where you shoot bullets from. So if your gun barrel moves and the crosshair indicates that, okay, this is where the gun barrel is pointing, that is necessary. That would be a great idea to have it on then, because then you can actually see where you're aiming as well. The other way, you might get some kind of weirdness where, okay, I just shot, but I'm not shooting where I'm aiming due to some kind of animation or something. Thickness of it, default, thick, thin, default. Not really a lot. And change it. Oh god, that's a lot. That's a lot of options for it. Change it to pretty much any color you want. You can see out here in snow, it's going to be hard to see. So you can absolutely change it to something that pops out a bit more. Maybe using the thick one. Can we do a completely green one? There we go. Like that pops out a bit more. I'm going to keep it here because you can kind of see it as well. There are some proper research into which crosshair color is the best against any type of terrain, but this is just a random one. Hit indicator. You always want to have a hit indicator because, yeah, then you'll know you hit someone. If you didn't hit someone, it will not show up, and you know to adjust your aim. Now the hit color you can change as well. That is because down here you can actually differentiate between damages, what you're doing. Like headshot, put that as a different color. In any game that's been supporting this, I think any game from Battlefield 3, I've always had a green for headshot. Headshot is good. So that means you need to see, okay, this is a headshot, he's soon to be dead. And then you have the kill color down here. I like that to be a deep red. So you know, okay, this guy is dead. I have hit him so many times and can see it from a hit indicator that my hit indicator suddenly just changed colors to red. That means he's dead. I don't have to shoot him anymore. You also have the damage base shape. If you saw it during a tutorial, depending on where shot on the body, you would get kind of double lines on the hit indicator. I'd recommend keeping this on because you're getting as much information as possible as to how much damage you get given this person or vehicle or whatever. So you can base on if you need to switch to a sidearm or anything like that. Armor broken in the hit indicator, of course, leave it on. It'll give you an indicator of, oh, he doesn't have any armor anymore. I can pretty much just spray him like mad. You also have one specific for armor hit indicator color. A good color here, I'd say, is a deep blue, just to differentiate from the others. Again, you can choose whatever you want here. Minimap. I want my minimap as big as possible, as detailed as possible, so not a lot of the opacity needs to be as high as possible. Rotate with view is up to you. Depending on my game, I leave it on and off. Mostly I leave it on. Then we have the view distance. Okay, I can't actually change the size of the minimap in here. You can that in previous games. I would usually have it at 150%, 150%. but this is the view distance. I kind of want to be able to see everything all the time, unless I'm in an air vehicle. You can there's a hotkey for it. Not sure if there's on console controllers, but you can change this in game as well. I just want to see if there was a scaling. No, there wasn't. Sound. Oh, we can actually change these hit indicator sounds to something different. I assume there's nothing right now, but they will mostly likely be porting over from previous games. So depending on what kind of game was your favorite Battlefield, you can change this when it becomes available. In will radio music, I assume that's Jeeps and such. Maybe skyscrapers have elevator music and such. No idea. Audio and background is when you all tap out. Leave it off or on if you want to see what's going on in the game. Subtitles, we had that on, but it didn't work. Go to the controllers. I'm going to skip this. I don't know anything about controllers, especially the controller scheme, so I'm not going to do that. Mouse raw input. Insert vertical look. That's if you want to invert the up and down for a soldier. Some like it, some don't. I do not. Raw input always on. That way it the game talks directly with your mouse and doesn't go through Windows and software and everything. And it means less input lag or latency. Now you have this is for soldier on foot. So we got the same stuff we had over in a separate tab. Field of view, we already set that. ADS field of view, we already set that as well. Soldier sprint, we already set that. Double tap forward, so if you press W a couple of times, it'll sprint as well. Good for some. I don't mind it terribly. I don't need it, I must say. You can sprint, automatically vault over things when you sprint by enabling this. Don't need it on at the moment because it might give you make you come into a position where you are unable to get out of an animation and you'll get shot. Traversal Sprint is that quick sprint you see when you double tap shift, double tap the sprint key, where you run faster but stamina is low and you're most likely going to take a longer time to actually go back to normal aiming. Now actually in here it is worded correctly, so I want to toggle, not to hold. Then you have this is pretty cool that I actually have the binds in here as well. Steady scope, when you hold shift when you want to steady scope, or i.e. holding your breath. I like to hold it rather than toggle. Also what button to use it for. Soldier zoom aim sensitivity. This is based on the regular one, so 20. It is fairly certain that this is a percentage one, so this would be 100% of the 20 I already have. This will become relevant if you're going to change your sensitivity to something that feels a bit better. So if you have an issue when you zoom in that people you can't really keep up with people, or you're keeping up too much, going too far, you can change only the zoom in here. This will also become relevant if you are using the mousesensitivity.com calculator. I'm sure that will change this as well to keep a uniform mouse sensitivity across the board. It is mouse sensitivity is basing the calculation on your monitor. So how long it takes to go from here to down here. So up, down, left, right. That will be what it calculates on. Parachute auto deploy. Do you want to auto deploy when you're falling? I want to keep it on just to be safe. Or maybe no, off just to make force myself to actually learn how to do it. Airspawn, okay. When you spawn into the air, do you want to open the parachute? Good if you want to go far from the spawn. Bad if people are actually aiming at you, because you'll be a really steady and easily findable target in the air. Quick throw grenades. This is essentially, if I press G, do I want to throw it automatically, the grenade? Or do I want to equip it and then throw it? Most games do it like this, so I'll keep it like that as well. Revive interaction, chuckle. So if you are reviving someone, do you need to keep in the key? No or yes. Toggle means no, or hold means yes. This is the GUI. Do I want to skip the revive? Do I need to hold down that button? And I'd say yes, please do, because stuff changes rapidly and a medic might be able to come for you. And help your team out. Please don't skip constantly, because you'll cause a ticket to be lost from your team. Reload hints, we saw that earlier. Now we're going to the advanced part, and I'm just gonna gloss over this. These are mostly for if you want like vertical. You know, in most monitors are very widescreen now compared to back then. So there's more space left, right than there's up, down. This can make it so you kind of emulate that it takes as much vertical time to go from across the screen as it would from up, down. I would not tweak with this now. What you need to do right away when you start a new game is to learn some muscle memory. So if you constantly keep tweaking these settings, you will never learn muscle memory because you'll have to relearn it constantly. If you know that you need to change these, then do. But other than that, unless told by a calculator of some sort, please don't change them. Uniform soldier aiming is essentially this mixed together in a good, nice bag. It tries to do some procedural aim rating when both zoomed in and outside, so they keep the same. The movement will be the same, so it doesn't feel frustrating when you zoom in and out, because the sensitivity will be consistent. Coefficient, it means greater value means that you will get a higher sensitivity depending on how high in your zoom. I will leave this at default. You could put it at 100% so you ensure that they should be the same, but this value has been calculated through many processes, through many games, and it is a good one. You could change this depending on what mouse sensitivity.com says. I'm not affiliated by mouse sensitivity. I have a subscription there because I like FPS games and having the same aim in all games. Here, down here, you can change it depending on the scope level, of course. You can actually see here we don't have a 40 time scope in this game, apparently. We only have 10 time. Not sure why this is blocked out. I'm sure that it's not affected when you use it in uniform soldier aiming. Vehicles, same thing. You have tank aim, so that's a tank turret. You might want to dish this up, but I'm fairly sure that's a limitation on the tank turret on how quickly it can move. Gunner aim sensitivity. Again, this is a bit more fluid than the tank turret, so it could differ. But other than that, I have not a lot left to say on this one because I rarely use vehicles. At least set the uniform vehicle aiming on, like before. Accessibilities, already gone through this, no need to do it again. Keybinds, change stuff in here if you need to. Are you right-handed, are you left-handed? Change it depending on that. But make it make sense. I would say that I'm one of those people that don't change keybinds just because they're different in another game. Get used to these so you can differentiate between games, and that will also give you your hands and your mind the idea that, hey, this is a different game, so I need to act differently. Same stuff all over, depending on extras, help, legal, credits, basic stuff, normal stuff. And that's essentially it. A fairly decently sized video. Not sure if I might cut out the tutorial and see how it goes from there, but this was a short introduction to at least Battlefield 2042 settings, starting it out. And that's it for me. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope to see you soon.